Most of the people that we meet, especially African Americans, they don't even know their fathers. They don't even know their fathers. It was all of them, most of them were the product of one night stand. One night stand. They will tell you, I don't know my father. Well, who named you? Whose name are you carrying? Well, my mother chose his name for me. I don't know. Is that what we want for our ummah? No. كلهم أو معظمهم أبناء الزنا. أبناء الزنا. Why? Because man, he has to give up the seed. And because the marriage will limit them, they will go from one to another to a third. You know, subhanAllah, it's one of the African American...
Man, these Democrats are going out of their way to erase our history and push this all-inclusive society, this black and brown coalition, this immigrant coalition, where these people go out of their way to show us every day that they're not with us. So now you have Jesse Jackson's, one of his other sons, I forgot his son's name, but he was down there in Selma, and he took these people to the Edwin Pettus Bridge, right? To the Edmund Pettus Bridge, to march, the Somalis. Now, mind you, the Somalis always say that they're not black. They always got disparaging things to say about black people in the black community, right? They come here, they say, well, we've been here for 400 years and we didn't do anything, right? They don't find the time to study our history, to know our history. And they always say that they're not black. But now all of a sudden that Trump is on their bumper, now all of a sudden they're black. Now we know on March 7, 1965, on Edmund Pettus Bridge, there was a march because there was a brother that was unalived down there on the voting polls, and we was fighting to have our voting rights, to get the Voting Rights Act put in place. But we know nearly 600 people went over that bridge, and when they did, the police down there and state troopers attacked them. Right, and it got real crazy. And that's part of our history that formulated. That was part of the civil rights movement. Now, when Jimmy Lee Jackson was killed, they started to do this protest, man. This thing is real crazy, man. But look, so now they're down there and they're protesting now on Selma. Yes, I'm going to say it again. They're down there now protesting on Selma, saying that we should overcome. And now they want to latch on and link to our civil rights movement. Like, you can't make this up. Look at this.
But the movement is transformed from them and then to us and now. This is our moment because our time has come to defend our rights. This is one step in that great legacy. Let's march with solemnity.
Keep hope alive! 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 Se siente, Minnesota está presente. Se ve, se siente, Minnesota está presente. Se siente, Minnesota está presente. Se ve, se siente, Minnesota está presente. Somebody! 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 Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Now we know that on that bridge that day, over 50 people was injured. Even John Lewis, he had a skull fracture, right? Man, this thing was crazy, man. It was known as Bloody Sunday. So we seen all of her horrific images, and beatings that was shocking the nation around that time. And that was our ancestors and grandmoms and great-grandparents getting dogs sent on them. Dogs was biting the breasts of women, biting men, and they was being beat with police batons. It was just crazy, man. That's part of our struggle and all the things that we was doing to get the the Immigration Act, the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Bill passed. We were fighting to get all of these things passed. They was nowhere to be found, but then they come here and have the nerve to say that the W man fought for them to get here. We didn't fight to do anything. They don't show any respect to us, none. I mean, to the point where even the Bantu Somalis get smoked because they consider themselves, those other Somalis consider themselves Arabs. Look at the way, the way this Bantu brother was explaining to how they get treated, and then how Somalis talk about us.
I don't think you are going to be happy with me, but let me start. Somalis deny Africanity. They do not want to be identified as African. They want to be Arabs. And the Arabs are pushing them. There's a dilemma here. You see, there's identity crisis here now. I don't have identity crisis. I'm an African, and there are so many Africans in Africa. I don't have identity crisis. You can call me whatever you want. But I have identity. You do not have identity now because the Arabs have refused you. They are telling you, ya Abid. And you're better off to accept me as your brother rather than going to an Arab. So, we called Somalis, in that article, Africanity by accident of geography. This group consists of those who happen to be in Africa without their wish to be there. Individuals who found themselves living in the continent by virtue of circumstances beyond their control. In other words, circumstantial Africans. Members of this group are not pleased to be identified with negritude or blackness, be it by value, ideology, culture, ethnicity, or any other quality except by the accident.
Americans, Black Americans.
Okay, so an FBA, is that what you guys call it?
Black American, Foundation of Black American, whichever you want to call it. Yeah, sure.
All right, they'll date an FBA, and it's going well at first, but then they start talking about family planning in the future, and then they start to realize that African culture, it's simply like our culture are better. Like, we simply don't have the degeneracy we see in your culture a lot.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. If your culture is so flawed, then why are you not in Somalia right now?
Well, we're getting
Who's we? Who's we? Because the Hutus and the Tutsis are fighting in your homeland right now. There's tribalism going on in your homeland right now where people are walking around with AK-47s and are walking around, men are walking around in dresses, unaliving the people in your own homeland. So if your culture is so popping, hold on. If your culture is so popping, why is the education system so bad in Somalia? Why is the healthcare system so bad in Somalia? You're not letting me finish. You got to be quiet. If your culture is so popping, why is the education system so bad in your culture? Why do y'all barely have any type of healthcare system over there? Why is all of the infrastructure in your own homeland destroyed? Mogadishu is a terrible city. It's terrible. Why is that going on in your homeland right now? Why is the tribalism going on in your own homeland right now? And y'all are the majority of the population, by the way.
Okay, one, colonialism, and two,
we were colonized too. No, Black Americans were colonized too. We were colonized too. You're the majority. We're the minority over here. You're the majority.
Yeah, you guys were colonized. You guys were enslaved, and you guys have the lowest literacy rate. You guys have the lowest.
That's not true. Wait, hold on. That's you're lying. That's not true. That's not true at all. It's not true at all. See what you're talking about. Let me educate you, because the big forehead that you have isn't working for you right now. Let me educate you because you don't know what you're talking about. Again, and this is how these people feel, by the way. This is what you call a tether. So I'm gonna drop you down because I know you're not about to do nothing but talk. But let's get down to the facts. Let's just address this real quick and real fast. When they love to talk about how they come over here and do better, don't let that get twisted and get y'all mixed in your head. These people do not care about education. They do not care about family values. They don't care about any of that. I would advise y'all to do y'all history on their homelands and why they had to flee. Do y'all history on their homelands and why they had to flee from their barefoot, degenerate homelands where they're walking around eating cow dung and laying it on the floor and using it as a bed. You want to talk about culture? Y'all are bopping each other over the head right now in your homeland. They cut off the clitorises of women because they're sexually active. You want to talk about culture? You want to talk about culture? There is no culture in a lot of your homelands. Your homelands are depleted and destroyed. Your main cities are like our hood cities. Like that's your best city. If you compare the education system in your homeland to the Black American education system here, it's completely not even a question. See, a lot of y'all like to do this thing where y'all say, we came over here and we do better than you. Well, let me tell you, there's something that y'all get that Black Americans don't get. We don't get immigrant benefits. We don't get handouts and vouchers. We don't get paperwork that gives us easier to access to get education. We don't get international scholarships. We don't get any of these things. Everything we got it out the mud. And your country wouldn't be such a if y'all actually did something to build it back up, which is why y'all flee to Canada, y'all flee to the US, and y'all flee to the UK, because most of you people are lazy. Most of the men in your homelands are actually lazy. And a lot of times.
So this man too African is saying that they have an identity crisis, right? They want to be Arabs so bad, but the Arabs is pushing them back down south of the Sahara. They're saying that, no, you're African, you're not one of us. And they're begging and pleading, yes, we are one of you, right? It gets real crazy, right? So this man too is saying, man, listen, they don't rock with us, we don't rock with them. Then you see the Somali woman calling up the CEO. She's saying she getting her cheeks clapped by foundational Black Americans, but when it come to marrying, she don't want to marry us because we don't have a culture. But yet and still, they down there marching on Selma, invoking Dr. King, and we should overcome, and all the things that we experience here for their benefit. And see, this is what I'm saying. Like, the Democratic Party has severely betrayed the Black community, man. And to see what the sad part is, I'm very discouraged because what happens now? What happens now? Who goes and puts who has the power to put our Black Democrats in check? Or do we just online just scream? Like, what happens now going forward? Because they don't let us know where they stand, right? On so many different levels, right? Now, Tariq Nasheed, he also got wind of this, and he took to his channel. He said this.
So now the Somalis are really on the hot seat. Their politicians are on the hot seat. The media is turned against them to a certain degree. It's hot. The block is hot. Now that the block is hot, boy, they've gotten super black. Ilhan Omar, she was doing a press thing talking about how, the attacking me as a Black woman. Look how they do us Black people. Oh, how dare they do us Blacks like this? Oh, every day they're blackety black. Family, they wanted to show how Black they were. The Somalis went down to Selma and did a march on the Edmund Pettus Dam Bridge, family. Good grief. They went down there to Selma and marched on the Edmund Pettus Bridge doing some damn civil rights chants, family. A brother on TikTok said they had a musty man march out there in Selma. And a lot of people, a lot of foundational Black Americans felt a certain way about that. A lot of foundational Black Americans were not feeling that. They were complaining about it. Rightfully so. I think some of it is justified. Because, see, this fake solidarity that they're trying to do now is transactional. See, you can't spend the last 5-6 years on social media dragging foundational Black Americans trying to prove to the dominant society that you're different and you're better. Then all of a sudden you want to be our cousins when the political heat gets turned up on that ass. See, that's not genuine unity. That's fair weather solidarity. You see, you're reaching out for an alliance of convenience, not out of respect. See, alliances got to be respectful. You see, it has to be about respect. And see, we reached out to people out of respect. We weren't really getting nothing out of a lot of things we would do, but we just do it out of respect. We reached out to help different African nations and all these different people. We weren't getting nothing out of it, but we just understood, hey, if these people are melanated like us, we need to help them. That's just a respect thing. But again, they're doing things out of convenience and really desperation because you don't really have no allies like that. And then they went out there to Selma. You're treating sacred ground like a PR stunt. Listen, Selma and Edmund Pettus Bridge, these are not just political props. I hate that the Democrats really use them as political props. You understand? But that area, that was a major hub for the civil rights movement. You understand? We got my family is out there in that area. You understand? Dallas County, Lowndes County, my biological family, on my father's side is out there, all in that area. So them going out to our family land, especially mine, cosplaying and doing all this shucking and jiving. Oh no, we don't appreciate that clout chasing. So don't try to use our ancestors' trauma for your little civil rights clout. You're trying to black it up when it's convenient. You understand? I hate when people try to get blackety black when your back is up against the wall, when the block is hot. No, you're supposed to be black all the time. Our identity is not a costume that you can put on and take off when it's convenient. You see, and they try to use us foundational Black Americans as political shields. We're not a meat shield for other groups to hide behind when they fall out of favor with the dominant society. See, these folks come over here and they buy into the myth that, okay, we're the problem. In order to get them butter biscuits, you got to emphasize on how you're different from us because we're the problem. And then when you start facing systematic realities on your own, now you want to hide behind our civil rights infrastructure that our families built. We're not playing that game. Lineage and history, it does matter. Our civil rights legacy is tied directly to a specific lineage. We survived centuries of American slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and we can have empathy for the struggles of immigrants and other people, but you ain't gonna co-opt our historic capital. You're not gonna do that while we know you have disdain for us, you see. And also, we were facing some very unjust challenges. People were targeting us simply because of race. We were being denied certain things. We hadn't done anything wrong. That's what I want y'all to understand. This is the big difference. Look, I got my cousin Jerry in here. What's up, cousin Jerry? No, but understand, when we were doing the civil rights movement, we had the moral upper hand. That's why it worked. We did nothing wrong. We were like, hey, don't punish us because you think we were born the wrong color. No, 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 no. We're not going to play that game. You're going to be fair. We're going to have justice. We've done nothing wrong. We're law-abiding citizens. We're taxpayers. We're not going to be denied housing, school, jobs, resources because you don't like our color. We're not playing that game. Now, on the other hand, these Somalis, the f you down there for? Y'all were stealing. Y'all were finessing. Get your ass off the bridge. Let's be real. What the hell are you down there for? Your civil rights ain't being violated. You're coming here running scams and finesses. Yeah, you're not supposed to do that. That's what I really have a problem with. Don't compare your scams with our righteous justice claims. Y'all niggas was scamming. Up there with the damn Leering Center. Get your ass off the Selma damn bridge. The hell out of here. I wish I was down there.
And the sad part is, as foundational Black Americans, we have a long, rich history, man, but it's not respected by our own people. And I told you guys on my streams that our biggest fight is not the Somalis, it's not the immigrants. Listen to me. I want everybody to look at me. Look at Uncle George for a minute. Listen to what I'm telling you guys. Our biggest fight is not the immigrants. None of the immigrants. Our biggest fight is our own people. Our own foundational Black Americans that's still connected to that Democratic plantation that will sell us out for anything. Because we're used to giving away everything. We're used to giving all of our culture away. We're used to being subordinate to everybody else. We're used to being under the whites. We're used to being under the Latinos, the Asians, and everybody else. So we just give it all away. So now while we're over here as foundational Black Americans, foundational Black American grassroots, screaming bloody murder and saying, yo, The rest of our foundational Black American clan, they giving everything away. They don't care. They don't care. They have a Black and brown coalition, even though the brown people don't want to have a coalition with us. They showed you when it went to Jasmine Crockett. Those Black Democrats still don't care. They showed you that there's no unification amongst the Black and brown, right? We hear all the stuff that these immigrants say about us. Those Black Democrats still don't care. And I'm talking about the Black Democrats that's in your house too. Your mama, your aunties, your sisters, your brothers. When you go in there, when you go show up to the barbecue and you talking this foundational Black American grassroots, the most pushback you get from your own family because they still connected to that Democratic plantation, man. And this is the problem, because those Somalis wouldn't be able to march down there in Selma if they didn't have help. They had help from other foundational Black Americans, man. And that's the problem. I told y'all, that's the problem. It was the problem back during the civil rights era, the Black Power movement. Our biggest detractors during the Black Power movement were some of our own family members from the church. The Black Power movement was considered troublemakers. They was rocking the boat. So listen, man, it's the same problems, man, today as it was 60, 70 years ago, man. But we got to wake up, man. Leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think, man. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.